It's time for spelling analysis. Are you ready to use the phonograms and rules we've been learning? Well, the first word is borrow. May I borrow some sugar? Go ahead and say borrow. How many syllables? Two. We will say to spell bar-row. What will we say to spell? Bar-row. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is bar. B-ah. This is an a-o-u. The second syllable is row. O. Use an ow-o. Go ahead and write bar-row. Sound it out as you write it. Excellent. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is bar. B-a-r. The second syllable is row. O. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the O. Let's read it. B-a-r-o. Borrow. What sound of ow-o, by the way, do we hear? That's right. It's the second, so we'll put a 2 over it. The next word is shovel. Do you have a shovel that we could use in the garden? Shovel. Go ahead and say shovel. How many syllables in shovel? 2. We will say to spell shov-el. What will we say to spell? Shov-el. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is shov. Sh-a-v. The second syllable is el. E-ul. Go ahead and write shov-el. Good. I like how you're sounding it out. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is shov. Sh-a-v. The second syllable is el. E-ul. How will we mark it? We'll underline the sh. Why did the O sound like O may say next to a W, T-H, M, N, or V. There it is. Let's read it. Sh-a-v-e-ul, shovel. The next word is dirt. Let's use the shovel to shovel the dirt. Go ahead and say dirt. Let's sound it out. D-er, use the of bird. T. Go ahead and write dirt. Excellent. And help me to write it. D-er-t. And how do we mark it? We'll underline the Let's read it. D-er-t, dirt. The next word is view. There's a great view from that window. View. Go ahead and say view. Now, let's sound it out. V-ya-u. Use an u-u. V-ya-u. Use an u-u. View. Yep. Go ahead and sound it out as you write it. It's a little unusual, isn't it? Oh, I just realized I didn't tell you what kind of ya to use. Let's do it again. Ya. Use an I-E-ya. U. Use an u-u. There you go. It is unusual, isn't it? And help me to write it. Ya. U. V-ya-u. View. So, what sound of I-E-ya do you hear in view? That's right, the fourth. And we'll underline the u. What sound of u do here? The first. V-ya-u. View. It is. It's an interesting one. And if you look it up in the dictionary, you'll see that it's just one syllable. V-ya-u. View. The next word is avoid. Try to avoid the potholes. Avoid. Go ahead and say avoid. How many syllables? 2. We will say to spell a-void. What will we say to spell? A-void. All right, let's sound it out. The first syllable is A. The second syllable is void. V-oy. 2-letter oi that you may not use at the end of English words. D. Go ahead and write a-void. Sounding it out as you write it. And help me to write it. The first syllable is A. The second syllable is void. V-oy-d. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the oi. We'll put a line over the A. And why did the A say its long sound? A, E, O, U usually say their long sounds at the end of the syllable. Let's read it. Avoid, avoid. And there you have that schwa, that lazy vowel, that any vowel may say one of its schwa sounds, or I, in an unstressed vowel or an unstressed word. The next word is twirl. The dancer will twirl. Go ahead and say twirl. Let's sound it out. T, w, use the of bird, ul. Go ahead and write twirl. Sounding it out, that's great. And help me to write it. T, w, ul. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the Let's read it. T, w, ul, twirl. The next word is roll. Let's roll out the dough. Roll. Go ahead and say roll. And let's sound it out. O, ul. Go ahead and write roll. Good. And help me to write it. O, ul. And how will we mark it? Put a line over the O. And why did the O say its long sound? I and O may say I and O before two consonants. And there it is, before two consonants. And here we often double FL or S after a single vowel. And there it is. The next word is idea. I have an idea. Idea. Go ahead and say idea. How many syllables in idea? 3. We will say to spell I-D, aw. What will we say to spell? I-D, aw. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is I. The second syllable is D, D-E. The third syllable is aw. Use an a-aw. Go ahead and write I-D, aw. Excellent. And help me to write it. The first syllable is I. The second syllable is D, D-E. The third syllable is aw. How will we mark it? Put a line over the I. Why did the I say its long sound? I and O may say it or I at the end of the syllable. Sorry, I said I and O. I and Y may say it or I at the end of the syllable. We'll put a line over the E. And why did the E say its long sound? A, E, O, U usually say their long sounds at the end of the syllable. And we'll put 2 dots over the A. It said its broad sound. And A often says its broad sound at the end of the word. Let's read it. I-D-E-A, idea. Excellent. The next word is join. Would you like to join us for dinner? Join. Go ahead and say join. And let's sound it out. J. This is the phonogram that only says J. Oi that you may not use at the end of English words. N. Go ahead and write join. Good job sounding it out. Help me to write it. J, oi, n. And how do we mark it? We'll underline the oi. Let's read it. J, oi, n. Join. The next word is blow. He will blow a bubble. Blow. Go ahead and say blow. Or the wind will blow tonight. Blow. Go ahead and say it. And let's sound it out. Blow. B-U-O. Use an ow-o. Go ahead and write blow. Good. And help me to write it. B-U-O. And how do we mark it? We'll underline the O. And what sound of ow-o do we hear in blow? The second. Let's read it. B-U-O. Blow. The next word is jewel. There is a jewel in the ring. Jewel. Go ahead and say jewel. How many syllables? 2. We will say to spell Jew-L. What will we say to spell? Jew-L. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is Jew. J, the phonogram that only says J. U, use an U-U. The second syllable is L. E-L. Go ahead and write Jew-L. Sounding it out as you write it. Excellent. And help me to write it. The first syllable is Jew. J, U. The second syllable is L. U. And how do we mark it? We'll underline the U. What sound of U? That's right, the first. Let's read it. J-U-L, jewel. The next word is stand. We will need to stand in line. Stand. Go ahead and say stand. And let's sound it out. S-T-A-N-D. Go ahead and write stand, sounding it out as you write it. Good. And help me to write it. S-T-A-N-D. And how will we mark it? There is nothing to mark, so let's read it. S-T-A-N-D, stand. The next word is parent. I am a parent. Go ahead and say parent. How many syllables? 2. We will say to spell parent. What will we say to spell? Parent. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is par. P-A-R. The second syllable is ent. E-N-T. Go ahead and write parent. Good. And help me to write it. The first syllable is par. P-A-R. The second syllable is ent. E-N-T. And let's read it. P-A-R-E-N-T. Parent. Good. The next word is leader. He is our leader. Leader. Go ahead and say leader. How many syllables in leader? 2. We will say to spell lead-er. What will we say to spell? Lead-er. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is lead. L-E, use an E-A-D. The second syllable is use the of her. Go ahead and write lead-er. Good, and help me to write it. L-E-D, and the second syllable is And how will we mark it? We'll underline the E and the Let's read it. L-E-D-er, leader. The last word is fill. Would you like me to fill your glass? Fill. Go ahead and say fill. And let's sound it out. F-E-L-L. Go ahead and write fill. And let's read it, or let's write it together. F-E-L-L. And here we often double F, L, or S after a single vowel. Let's read it. F-E-L-L. Fill. Excellent. Great work today.
Combining the science of reading with the joy of learning. Learn more at essentials.logicoфenglish.com.